Welcome back to the MMA Business Hour, everyone. With the NFL season just days away, we're going to predict all of the Week 1 games. We're back with the prediction puppy. She had an amazing season last year. We absolutely crushed our parlays and our bets. But stay tuned. We're going to break down all the NFL games in Week 1. Here we go. All right, we kick off the 2023 season this Thursday. The Detroit Lions go on the road to play the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are one of the best home teams in the NFL, and what can we say about them last year? The Super Bowl champs were first in points scored, first in total yards per play, and first in total yards per game. Their offense is absolutely ridiculous, and the Detroit Lions will have their hands full. The Chiefs are pretty sizable, minus 245 favorites, but they are without Juju Smith-Schuster, who is no longer on the Chiefs, and Travis Kelce is also a little banged up. He'll probably play, but his snap count is likely to be limited. And Detroit is slowly building a better defense. They're not great by any stretch of the imagination, but I think they underperformed a little bit last year, and they will be a little bit better this year. But they have a very, very sneaky offense. Listen to this, guys. They were the top 5 team in points scored, total yards per play, and total yards per game, and coming in at 6th in passing yards per attempt. So this offense under Jared Goff is extremely underrated, and if ever there was a time for an upset, it would be an opening week this Thursday for the Lions to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think the Chiefs are going to edge it out 21-17. That's my prediction. But if the Detroit Lions won, I would not be surprised. The next game, we go to the Cincinnati Bengals visiting the Cleveland Browns, and this will be my first upset of the week. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to beat Cincinnati. All right, you guys might think I'm crazy, but hear me out. Joe Burrow didn't play at all or really practice at all for the whole entire preseason, coming off that devastating injury. I don't know what he's going to be looking like. And Cincinnati's secondary is banged up and super young. This will give Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper the chance to open it up downfield and make some big plays. They also have Nick Chubb, who's one of the best running backs in the NFL. I just think Cleveland is in a good spot to get this win. When they played Cincinnati last year, they had a lot of success. In one game, they had 5 sacks, 1.5 sacks by Myles Garrett, who is an absolute beast. I just think Cleveland's defense is going to get after Joe Burrow and make him really uncomfortable. And considering he hasn't really practiced or played at all since last season, he's going to be a little rusty, and I think Cleveland gets it done 24-20. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns, baby. All right, the next game we're going to be talking about is the Houston Texans on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. This should be an easy win for the Ravens for sure. If you're in a suicide pool, the Ravens are almost a sure thing. The Texans, everything's new there. They have a new quarterback and C.J. Stroud, the number 2 pick in the draft, and they have a new coach. Everything is new there. Baltimore Ravens at home are almost impossible to beat, especially if you're as dumpster fire as the Houston Texans. The Ravens really need to try to get the pass game going this year. They were 3rd and 2nd in rushing yards per attempt and rushing yards per game, but in the bottom 3rd of the league in passing. They brought in Odell Beckham Jr., Nelson Aguilar, and drafted Zay Flowers with the number 22 pick to try to revamp the wide receiving core. But the Ravens are known for their defense. They're stout against the run and pretty decent against the pass. They should be able to disrupt C.J. Stroud and get the W. I'm going 28-10 Baltimore Ravens. Next, we have one of the most interesting matchups of Week 1. Tampa Bay goes on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. We get the debut as the number 1 quarterback for Baker Mayfield. He's got weapons like Goodwin and Evans. We'll really see what he can do as a quarterback here, right? If he can't be successful with Godwin and Mike Evans, it's pretty much going to be a pitcher wrap on Baker Mayfield. But it's going to be a close game. But I think Vegas has it wrong. The Buccaneers getting 6 points seems like a pretty solid bet to me. Minnesota's secondary is absolutely terrible. And they got worse. They lost their two number one quarterbacks in Cameron Dantzler and Patrick Peterson, and they were 30th in points allowed, 29th in total yards per play, and 31st in total yards per game, and then they lost their top two corners. Baker Mayfield should have an absolute day. That's a great fantasy bet. Pairing Evans, Goodwin, and Baker Mayfield could score you some serious points. You know what? Screw it. I was going to say Minnesota was going to win this game barely, but I think Tampa Bay is going to go on the road and get the W. You can never trust Kirk Cousins. They got rid of Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook, and you're going to see the residual effects of that for sure. So I'm going with Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans to get a big W on the road here. Let's say 27-24 Tampa Bay. All right, the next two games are a set that I'm not particularly interested in talking about a lot. We have Arizona at Washington. Washington opened up as a really big favorite over Arizona. Washington's defense is a top 5 defense in the NFL, but their offense is still pretty bush. Arizona, Kyler Murray, we'll see what he has this year. There's a lot of new moving parts in Arizona. They have a new head coach. Philadelphia's defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, is now the head coach in Arizona. It should be a really fun game to watch. I think Washington's defense might be enough to get it done. I'm going 17-10 Washington. And then we move on to Carolina, traveling over to Atlanta. We have number 1 pick, Bryce Young, making his debut for the Carolina Panthers. That should be really exciting. And Atlanta is not very good. They don't impress me at all. 23rd in points allowed, 25th in total yards per play, total yards per game 27th. This defense leaves a lot to be desired, and I think Carolina goes on the road and gets the win here. Bryce Young impresses with a big W on the road. Next, we move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, traveling on the road to face the Indianapolis Colts, the dumpster fire of an organization. Wow, can things go any worse for the Colts? I'm not sure. I don't know if Jonathan Taylor will ever play for the Colts again. What a shit show. The Jacksonville Jaguars were coming off a playoff berth last year. Trevor Lawrence is in the second year of Doug Peterson's offense, so he should continue to improve week after week and hopefully get Jacksonville Jaguars back into the playoffs. I think he's going to be stellar. He's going to shred the Colts secondary. That's absolutely terrible. They somehow got worse by losing Stephon Gilmore, so probably the worst secondary and team against the pass somehow got worse. So I think Trevor Lawrence is going to light them up. I'm saying 28-14 Jacksonville Jaguars get it done. Up next, we have one of the most exciting matchups of the entire opening week. We have San Francisco traveling across the country to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wow, San Francisco was just a little bit short of a Super Bowl appearance, losing the NFC Championship game to the Eagles. And Pittsburgh and Kenny Pickett are only a few building blocks away from becoming a real contender in the AFC. This should be a lot of fun. Will Nick Bosa suit up for the 49ers is the biggest question. He's going through some contract issues right now. He led the NFL in sacks with 18.5 last year for the number 1 defense in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers. Will they get the contract done in time for him to suit up for Sunday? That will matter a lot. If he doesn't play, Pittsburgh Steelers have a way better chance of absolutely winning this game. But if Bosa plays, he's going to be in Pickett's pocket all night long. So if Bosa plays, I'm going with San Francisco. If he sits the bench, the morale for the team's not going to be there, and I think the Steelers will steal the game away from San Francisco, traveling across the country on the road. It's always tough to play in Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett is a lot better than people think, and I think the Steelers will win if Bosa doesn't play. This game by far is one of the hardest to make a prediction for. The Tennessee Titans are on the road at New Orleans. Tennessee is bringing back veterans Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry to revamp that offense and get them back from a very injury-riddled season. And then we have Derek Carr making his debut at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. And Michael Thomas is finally back healthy. We'll see if he has anything left in the tank. This game should be a lot of fun. I just think the Titans have too many holes. The Tennessee Titans were the most sacked team in the NFL, ranking 31st in that category. I think the Saints and Cam Jordan are going to be able to be in Tannehill's face, bottle up the run, and kind of stagnate Tennessee's offense. I think Tennessee Titans secondary is not very good, and Michael Thomas should have a big day. Derek Carr is really good at pushing the ball down the field, and I think the Saints, with their defense and their offense, will do just enough. We're going 24-21 Saints. We're heading to Denver, where the Las Vegas Raiders come to town to meet in a mile-high city. Las Vegas is a new, revamped team with Jimmy Garoppolo taking the helms, and then we have to see if Sean Payton can correct the absolute shit show that was the Denver Broncos last year. Russell Wilson had the worst season of his career by far, but Max Crosby and the Raiders are going to be coming down his throat and trying to make his life a living hell. But lucky for him, he has two really good receivers, Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. This should be a really close game. I'm going to go with the Broncos slight edge, 23-20. But the Raiders should be a lot better. Josh Jacobs is always hard to handle. Jimmy G is a really good passer. And him with a connection with Devontae Adams, they could go absolutely off if the Denver Broncos don't bring their A game. But the Broncos have a really great defense who underachieved a lot last year because their offense was so bad that the Broncos defense had to be on the field pretty much 90% of every game because Russell Wilson and that shit show were so bad. Sean Payton is an offensive guru. What he was able to accomplish with Drew Brees in New Orleans for all those years will definitely get him a seat at Canton whenever he decides to hang it up. But either way, after this game, we're going to see the pundits coming out, Russell Wilson's washed, or Russell Wilson's back. It should be absolutely hilarious to hear all the talking heads come out, whether to anoint Wilson back or cancel his career. This should be a good game, though. It's playing in Denver, and you can never underestimate playing at elevation. They are in Vegas, which is pretty close to Denver, so they don't have to travel far, but man, that elevation is tough. That's why I think the Broncos are going to win maybe by 3 points. It might even be a 1-point game, winning by a field goal at the end. But I think the Broncos edge it out. There's too many new moving parts in Las Vegas. I think Peyton and Wilson get it done. The defending NFC champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, go on the road to face the New England Patriots, which should be a very good game. There's a lot of new moving parts in New England. They have a new offensive coordinator. They have a bunch of new receivers like Juju Smith-Schuster. They have a new tight end. And Mac Jones, we'll see if he could be the quarterback of the future. There leaves a lot to be desired in Mac Jones' play. What makes New England a very tough game for the Eagles is they have a really good defense. They're solid from the front line to the secondary to the corners. They did lose safety Devin McCourty, so Dallas Goedert for the Eagles could have a potential big game if they want to try to lock down the receiver situation. But the Eagles are pretty much bringing everybody back on the offensive line except I think right guard Isaac Seumalo. But the Eagles' offensive line is the best in the NFL by far, so it'll be a great matchup between the Patriots front seven, who are also in the top 5 of front sevens in the NFL. This game's going to be close. I think it might be a little more high scoring than people think. I'm going 31-21. Eagles get the W, but the Patriots, they're a really good team, man. They're really good, but I just think there's too many weapons, too many new things going on in New England for them to be successful. I don't know if their offense is going to be in sync. They got Juju Smith-Schuster now and Devontae Parker, and the tight end situation is new. Everything's new, and their running game is never great in New England. So with all these moving parts, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be able to get it done. I think they're going to wear out New England's defense and pull away in the second half of this game. 31-21 Birds. Let's go on to the next game. Let's move to some West Coast fun. We have the Rams traveling up to the number 12 Seattle Seahawks. It's always tough to play in Seattle, man. The 12th man is serious. And Matthew Stafford just doesn't seem to be gelling with the Rams. His wife came out and was saying he's having trouble getting on the same page as these young players, and that is never a good sign. He's coming off an injury. Cooper Kupp is not healthy. I think Geno Smith and his 2,000-yard receivers, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, get the job done fairly easy. I'm going 28-17. Seattle gets it done for sure. We're going to do another tandem games for you guys. We have Miami at LA Chargers and the Packers going to Chicago for a close-knit matchup of division rivals. All right, for the first game, we have Miami traveling to LA. The Chargers are just a better team. I think Justin Herbert is too elite for the Dolphins at this particular juncture. Miami just always seems to be involved in all this controversy. They can never get on the same page between Tua and Tyreek Hill and all the chaos with the coaching staff. I just like LA. I think the Chargers are in place to go on a title run. If not this year, next year, but in the very near future, the Chargers are going to be an NFL champion. Let's go. Chargers over the Dolphins, 27-13. And then we're going to go to the Packers. The Aaron Rodgers-less Packers going to Chicago to play the Bears. We got a battle of two below mediocre teams. I don't know. Is Love going to be able to lead the Packers to victory, or are the Bears going to continue this mediocrity stretch for the next, 50 years? It seems like the Bears haven't been good in forever, but I think the Packers are a better coach team, so I'm going to go with the Packers to get the win on the road, 17-14. Next, we have the NFL game of the week. The Dallas Cowboys travel to the New York Giants in a game of NFC East rivals. This game should be absolutely incredible. The Dallas Cowboys are without Ezekiel Elliott, but their wide receivers, including CeeDee Lamb, should be enough to pick up the slack. And Tony Pollard finally gets to be the number one guy for the Cowboys. He averaged over 5 yards a carry last year, and he's been extremely impressive. Saquon Barkley didn't get the deal that he wanted, but he's back for the Giants, so we'll see what kind of motivation he has to be successful. Daniel Jones got all the money in the world to be mediocre, and Saquon Barkley is a top 3 running back, and they don't want to pay him at all. That is so fucked up. I don't even know what to say about it, but that the Giants are going to be the Giants, and Saquon Barkley sooner or later will leave New York and go somewhere else and probably win a ring or something like that. But this game should be a lot of fun. I love the Cowboys when they play the Giants. I just like seeing these teams beat up on each other. Being a Birds fan, don't tell anybody. But I think the Giants are going to win this game. Dallas is they got to travel. They're not the best road team, and Dak Prescott has been, I don't know. And I think the Giants bringing in Darren Waller to play tight end, if he's healthy, this offense can really sing between Waller and Saquon Barkley catching the ball out of the backfield. And Daniel Jones is very sneaky with the football. He runs for touchdowns. He runs for first downs. And Dallas Cowboys will be chasing him all night long. The Dallas Cowboys, always in these big games, somehow come up short. So I'm going with the New York Giants to get the victory, 24-17. And on Monday night, the final game of Week 1 is the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. Wow, Aaron Rodgers is taking over the reins at the New York Jets. They look like a better team, but that offensive line is still absolute trash, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be running for his life. The Jets have a lot of work to do, especially on that offensive line. The Bills are a more complete team. They are a more experienced team. Josh Allen has the weapons and the skills to get the W, to beat the New York Jets on the road. I think the Jets will keep it competitive. Aaron Rodgers can never be doubted, but he is traditionally a slow starter, so that's another reason why I think Josh Allen and the Bills are going to win this game. The Bills are just better at this point. Could the Jets gel and take the AFC East by storm? Absolutely. I just don't think it happens quite yet. We saw on Hard Knocks that offensive line struggled mightily, and they will continue to struggle this season for the majority of it, I would say. They just don't have the talent there that they need to be successful. I think the Jets can be an 8-9 win team. Are they a playoff contender? I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not sold. But Aaron Rodgers has some new weapons. It'll be interesting to see how he blossoms in that system. But I think the Buffalo Bills get it done 24-14. We're going to be doing a lot more football this season, so if you like these type of videos, leave us some comments below. Let me know who your favorite team is playing. Did I get the predictions right? Have I lost my goddamn mind? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. You guys are the best. Peace!